Let's get to the number 21 ranked class. So that was Arkansas.
Yes, sir.
And
I've been waiting to do that.
I would think there's something wrong if you didn't do that. So we had 23 commits for them, 2 ESPN 300 commits, 18 3-stars, 4 4-stars. They were really keying in on the state of Oklahoma in this one in the 2021 class. They had ESPN 300 athlete AJ Green, who is projected to contribute on offense. And then they had 4-star running back Javion Hunt and 3-star wide receiver Bryce Stevens, all jumping on board from Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma. So
Lincoln Riley must not be too happy.
Probably not. So ESPN 300 wide receiver Katron Jackson was a huge win out of Texas over the Longhorns. And then another 4-star.
Everybody poaching from Texas.
I know. Of course, it's biggest state.
I know.
They had a little bit of turnover too with their state because remember they fired Herman. That probably didn't help.
Right. Another 4-star in the class is another Lone Star State quarterback Lucas Coley. He's the number 9 ranked dual threat quarterback. I saw DT. My brain said defensive tackle. So that's going to be interesting to watch. I know KJ Jefferson looked to be the one to take over at quarterback after Felipe Franks left after last year. But who knows? This guy, Coley, he may work out as well. Matt, let's start with you first this time. The yes, sir. I'm sure he was saying that a lot when he was pulling in some of these recruits. What do you think about it?
Oh, I'm sure. Well, Sam Pittman, we know can recruit because, I mean, he did it at Georgia.
Yeah.
And looking at what he's pulled away from, Oklahoma, Texas, and a couple of people from Georgia, looks to be a pretty solid group. Big emphasis on wide receivers, apparently, because 4 of them, that seems a bit excessive for a single signing class, at least to me anyway. And again, it looks like they've got some solid players here. But again, it's all going to come down to how they develop. And we know that Pittman last year impressed all of us. It's going to be one of those situations where we hope he can do it again. I know I'm personally pulling for Arkansas because Arkansas looking good would be interesting. Because remember, we when Pittman got hired, we were like, you hired a position coach with no head coach experience, no coordinator experience. Okay, let's see how this works. And they didn't have a stellar year, but I mean, they still were competitive and they looked good, looked better in Tennessee.
It was a heck of a lot better
than they have been.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I think they Razorback fans have something to be excited about, building for the future.
Oh, I agree. Jesse, what do you think?
Comparison is the thief of joy, but when you compare to where you were in the past and you're only comparing, it's some self-reflection. Yes, they're trajecting up, and hopefully they continue to.
Now she's a philosophizer.
I am. But no, that's great, especially just where they are location-wise, situated in the United States. They're in a hotbed, in Oklahoma, Arkansas itself, and then in Texas. So and I think in the past couple of years when they've been really terrible, that good talent has gone to Oklahoma. It's gone to Texas. And so now that they're able to start swaying those recruits back where they need to be and start getting those kids from their home state, that's huge. And that's a good trend that needs to continue. Now, they were not by any means where they needed to be last year as far as being competitive with the entire conference, but they're getting there. And I think adding a dual threat quarterback, somebody that could maybe, if Jefferson doesn't pan out or maybe just beat Jefferson in general, that's a good place to start. I do agree wide receivers seems a little heavy, but maybe he sees something in the locker room that we don't.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I was really impressed with them last year. Despite, their record, which wasn't stellar, it wasn't bad, like we said. And they were one of those teams. They were one of those teams that got one stolen from them by Auburn. Don't forget that. So it could have been even better.
Forgotten about that.
So
pour one out.
Or rather, I shouldn't say Auburn stole it. It was the circumstances, but it just was against Auburn. But you know what I mean. Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Of course it was. It always is for everyone.
Again, sweater vest is gone though. We'll see what happens. So